impacted. Let's talk about the firefight, how the weather is playing a role in all of this. Adam Kruger has been tracking the weather for us. And Adam, because of the weather tonight, which is different than last night, it's a very different firefight.
Yeah, different, better, but not good. Let's say it like that. We have still very dry air, still gusty winds, just not quite as extreme. But let's back it out, and I promise we're going to get to the wind forecast in a moment here. I'm going to spend several minutes on what's happening with the weather. We've done a lot of like micro scale stuff. This spot, this spot, this spot. Let me show you more of a macro view of what's just broadly going on across our area, because I know if you're watching, it can get a little overwhelming just with everything we have happening. So we have several fires we're obviously monitoring. What you're looking at right here is a map. You see a lot of this is generally north of Los Angeles. And then not only do we have the fires marked here, but also you notice the evacuation zone. So if, we can have the control room kind of go place by place. Let's come into the Palisades fire now. So you're going to notice a couple of things. First of all, the acreage. It's more than 15,000 acres. You see the orange color around the Palisades fire. That's basically the fire footprint. And what is incredible when we look at this here on the left side of the screen, notice that grayish white color right there. That is the burn scar from the Franklin fire on Malibu last month. We know that was a big fire. That was, I believe, about 4,000 acres. And you see how the Palisades fire, just in terms of the land that it covers, is multiple times the size of the Franklin fire in that burn scar area there on the left. And the fire went up to the burn scar, so that's pretty incredible. On the right side or east side of the Palisades fire, you can see how it's just barely encroaching on kind of the border of the Brentwood area. And then as we come in, I want to come in closer to Santa Monica if we can, because you'll see the borders now of the evacuation zone. So we've got the reddish, kind of pinkish color. That is the evacuation order. That's mandatory. And that changed this afternoon. It got extended into more of Santa Monica. So now kind of southeast or down the coast of San Vicente, including up to, if we come in a little bit closer, I believe to Montana, and then from Montana, from the coast up to 11th Street. So that's an area that was new today that has a mandatory evacuation order. Then you see the yellow spots. Those are evacuation warnings, and I'll remind you that means that it's not mandatory, but in terms of the ready, set, go, go would be the order, the red, set, meaning kind of get ready to go if needed, would be in yellow. So you have the option to evacuate. It's suggested if you can, you should. And those yellow spots could potentially turn into mandatory red evacuation orders. And so that includes more parts of Santa Monica as well. All right, let's back it out now. Let's go look a little farther east up to the Eaton fire. Now let's do that. We're going to skip over the Sunset fire in a moment. So here's the Eaton fire, which is now more than 10,000 acres. Again, this is a massive area right here. You see the large burn scar, and then you see the large area with the evacuation order and the evacuation warning. The warning goes all the way down to the 210. You see it includes parts of Pasadena. From the right side of the screen to the left side of the screen right here, huge area being affected by this one. And we know everything that's going on there. Our reporters have done an amazing job talking about it. Now let's back it out farther. We're going to kind of go in order of when the fire started. So if we can go up to the Hearst fire, so that's up around Sylmar. This one's smaller in size, still impactful. I believe around 700 acres was the estimated coverage of this one. And again, the red spots are mandatory evacuations. The yellows would be evacuation warnings. Then if we go to the right of that or to the east of that, you see this. Now this is the Lydia fire. So it's kind of, it started just west of Ravenna. You see right there. Large area here, kind of wilderness area, still some homes and businesses being impacted. I believe this one was around shortly a little more than 300 acres in size. And I know in the press conference we had a little earlier this evening that the officials were saying on this particular one, on the Lydia fire, that forward progress was stopped. And I believe that's the only, of all the fires, the only one where there's really been some good progress in containing it somewhat. And then the newest one that we're aware of is the Sunset fire. That's the one in the Hollywood Hills. So that's right in the center of your screen right there. And this one smaller, but you know, we're gonna, as we get updates on this, we know that acreage is going to grow because it's still weather-wise favorable for these fires to spread. And again, I'll reiterate, the red is the mandatory evacuation. And then yellow is an evacuation warning, which is not mandatory, but could change to mandatory evacuation orders at some point. Okay, so that's kind of like going around the map, showing you everything that's going on. I know you want to know what the wind forecast is like. So let's switch over to our weather graphics right now. We're going to talk still for several minutes about what the weather is looking like, if we can get over to weather one. And I want to mention, first of all,